Okay. Okay, good afternoon. Thank you for being here. Coming off the bye week and getting ready for conference play on Saturday, obviously against a very talented team. Bye week was productive for us in terms of assessing where we are, what we do well, what we don't do well, an honest and transparent look at where we are and what we have to do to get better, whether it be tweaking, whether it be eliminating, whether it be just finding ways to put guys in position to make plays and be more effective and successful. So, and using that as we enter the week of practice, starting with yesterday against North Carolina. So that being said, questions, please.
Hi, Mario. I know you kind of touched on it on the radio this morning, but have you guys decided whether to have it be starter on Saturday or be Jake or to start on Saturday?
We made that clear, yes, sir.
How has Tyler responded as he looked in practice since that last game?
Great competitive response. He's approached with energy, with ownership, with honesty and transparency, which we would expect of our guys, which is how we do it as a program, and worked really hard to have a real good week of practice, and we expect that to carry over into preparation.
And based on what you have seen from Jake, does he give you more confidence that if he is needed, he can run that offense?
The world of confidence in Jake. We feel we have two great quarterbacks and a third young one that's developing into a really good one as well. Jake showed that he's a really good player. He showed it in high school. He showed it in opportunities here. So a ton of confidence in him and a super bright future for him as well.
Tyler basically said, we're not giving up on our guy just because of a bad game, but was this a situation where coming out of that game you knew right away that he was still going to be the guy, or did you need to kind of see the way he was going to respond in practice and all that kind of stuff?
Well, you always have conversations with guys. When a guy has played as many games as he has, and it's not like he's been here for a ton of years, but he's been here long enough and has proven enough where a guy that works hard like that has proven himself, you always give them the benefit of the doubt. You dive into tape, and you find ways to get him better as opposed to just kind of flying around and bashing and looking for critique and errors. So, our job is to make sure guys get better. So from the supporting cast, the technique, to what we call, how we call it, everything always assessed. Again, just a very honest and transparent assessment of where we are and what we have to do to improve and help our players perform better.
Mark, can you take us just back to last week and maybe what you guys were actually did in the building, how many practices you had, or any of that kind of stuff, and then also, are there any guys for sure will be out this week against North Carolina because of injury?
Oh, we have some guys that are going to be out that haven't healed up yet, but we're not going to be able to give a full assessment on that until the end of the week. We will give that as soon as we possibly can. The bye week is completely dedicated to technique, fundamentals, scheme assessment, technique, wrinkles, and then we need to add to complement what we're doing. If something's not working, no matter how much we've had success with it in the past, but we can't seem to find the right way to do it or the right pieces, we move on from it and try to go to something that's going to give us a better chance, whether it be, name it, blocking, tackling, covering, throwing, catching, all that stuff. It is a physical week. We do some things that are very camp-like, but without losing sight of the fact that you need the bye week to get healthy. So.
You said this morning that you've done a better job communicating and making sure we can do things that fit our personnel at the current time. And I know you said there's a new scheme now and there's a new offensive coordinator. Have you considered putting in more fast tempo spread, quick pick, more like what he had last year for Tyler?
Are we considering, come again so I could understand your question completely.
Like up-tempo, no huddle, spread kind of offense, or putting that in a little
Well, we are a power spread offense. Sometimes we have condensed sets, sometimes they're spread out, right? Sometimes we have some tempo plays. We're not a fully committed tempo offense, if that's what you mean, where you're running a play every 12 to 14 seconds. That's not where we're at right now. What do we look at? We look at and consider anything that helps us move the ball and score points more efficiently. So you can't take anything off the table. You also can't get in a place where you're just trying to scrap things that you can get better at. You have to find exactly, to the best of your ability, what works best for your guys. And be really, really, truly honest with, okay, we can do this effectively. We can be good at this particular thing we can't. We're struggling with this concept, or we're struggling with this particular scheme. We can't do it at the level it needs to be done to be effective. Let's move on from it. That's the approach. So every single part of that, run game, pass game, protection-wise, it's all assessed and made a decision on.
Defensively, when you went back and watched the Middle Tennessee State game, was there a common thread on the issues in that game?
Well, there are 4 plays that result in about 315 plus yards, right? Explosive plays hurt us. Now, offensively, we put our defense in situations that weren't great, and we did do a pretty good job. But explosive plays are typically the result of an offense making a big play or a bust on defense, right? So, I mean, you saw, things. I don't know if things have to be rehashed in terms of, right, whether a guy got beat, whether we didn't communicate well enough. I mean, it's the same stuff. It hasn't changed in 2 weeks in terms of what actually happened. More importantly is what have we done going forward to address that. And again, assessing it and attacking it with practice, with a plan, a form of communication, technique work, scheme work, ways to help our guys be in situations where they can be successful has been the answer and the approach for us.
Coach, defensively after that game, you said beat on man coverage essentially on those long plays. Is that something you're going to reevaluate? Maybe you need to drop back more, or do you have confidence these guys can still one-on-one win their battles?
Well, kind of like we said then, like we said earlier today, everything is always assessed. Some things you have to get better at, some things you have to provide health for, and some things you just have to throw out. In college football, you can't throw out man coverage. At some point in time, you have to play man. And we have had guys that have played very well in man coverage, and other times we haven't played well. So our approach is very meticulous and very to the point. Assess who can do it, how well we can do it. If we're not doing it well because of technique, let's improve technique. If we're not doing it well because of ability, then we have to do something else. Now, that approach is taken for every single scheme that we have. And if we feel we're at a point where we could do this and improve upon it, we'll do it. If we feel that we can't, then we won't. Hopefully that answers the question.
Well, North Carolina obviously has an elite quarterback, Drake May's just a first-year starter, but that passing game and their offense, can just talk about what they do well and what impresses you.
Yeah, they're an elite passing attack. A lot of juniors and seniors starting for them. He gets the ball out quick. He extends drives, not only with his arm. He sees the field very well, tall guy. Gets the ball out on time, gets it out before time, so the pass rush doesn't affect him much. But he knows where to go with the ball, and if protection breaks down, he's extended plays, made some unbelievable throws. And he's also done a great job with his legs. They've run quarterback draw so many different ways. And he's a long, athletic body, and he throws his body around. You saw him over there close to the goal line going up and, just about doing everything possible to move the sticks. So an excellent football player and one that we have to be at our best to defend.
Anything else for Coach Cristobal? Kind of looking back and looking at him, Henry Parrish came out last 2 weeks ago. Jalen came out. And how are you guys kind of spreading the Henry around, keeping guys healthy and balancing that out, I guess?
Yeah, we're working on trying to get healthy. Too early in the week to say where we're at. I think we're on the mend. Certainly guys are on a positive path to getting healthy again, but we're not all the way there.
Dad was the guy who finished the game there, kind of one guy who finished the game there for you guys last week. He's been like kind of a really good role player, it feels like, kind of since day one. Like, how do you feel he could handle that bigger responsibility if that's needed, if he needs to?
Sure. Yeah. No, we feel confident that he can, and we got to impress that upon him and make sure that he fully understands that. I think he wants to do that. I think he's learning more and more, and he's growing in that role. So he's a guy that has gained our trust, and he's going to have the trust of all his teammates with the way we're pushing him to practice and make sure he understands every bit of it, because it's not just running the football right, it's protections, it's blocking, it's all that stuff. So Thad has certainly come a long way, and we expect that his best football is still ahead of him also.
Mario, Zion also didn't dress for the last game.
No.
Was there a setback there? And I guess you expect he'll be back this week.
There was a setback. We expect that it's going to be close. Similar to where we were at the start of the season, where it was, kind of healing up and getting right there. We're about in the same spot with him.
Frank Ladson, what did you like about what he showed?
Drastic improvement, confidence. Played hard, made contested catches, precision on his route running. Took a big step. It's something that we have been, from day one since we signed Frank Ladson, what we were hoping to see is starting to come together, and we expect another big week from him in terms of practice and preparation.
Jaleel made a couple, at least one nice play kind of down the stretch there. Obviously, bye week for these young guys. Is this like a kind of a time when you can see freshmen and guys who have been here not a whole lot of time, like kind of take a jump, just having that extra week to, like you said, focus kind of on fundamentals and
Right.
not have to game plan, that kind of stuff?
Yeah, and you also assess what those guys can do and how they can help you, really for everybody in the building, right? Once you get going during the season, you go with certain guys, you keep improving the roster. We do what we call the opportunity scrimmage every Friday, where we have 16 to 24 plays with the guys that are on the look team or guys that don't get a lot of reps during the game. We figure by mid-season, guys have logged in excess of 160, 180 live plays. They can help you if they've advanced within the scheme. And guys like that, Jaleel has always been advanced. He's been getting better and better since the day he got here, during spring ball. So he's going to be a great player for us. He has contributed a bunch, and he'll continue to contribute more and more.
Mara, how is Arroyo? What's your assessment of him? How's he doing now?
Elijah has been doing really well. Some of you guys know he did get banged up, so we're not sure if he's going to be able to play for us this Saturday. So,
Is there-
non-contact. So
I don't know if we've asked you about a timetable for Jacoby and his return. Is there?
sure, tricky because of what he has. You'd like a best case of a couple more weeks, 2 to 3, and then a worst case of 4 to 5. So he'll be out for a bit. We expect Restrepo back in another, 5.5 weeks, maybe a little bit more. I'm trying to think who else. Well, kind of the same timelines for the other guys. Some guys are, a guy that may be back in about 6, 7 weeks towards the end of the season who else would it be? No, running back, we're good. Yeah, it's a good list. So, but we're getting there, is what it is.
Have you explored other positions at receiver, like during the bye, or?
We always do. There's not a big pool to choose from to play receiver. I think sometimes, a lot of people get caught up and a guy runs fast. Say he caught the ball and did this one particular time in high school. It's a little bit more than that. We're playing the best guys that we have. And guys are working really hard to try to improve. We're working to the best of our capacity. We've got to increase and improve our capacity. That's where we're at as we continue to develop and enhance, our team, our program, and our roster. But that's where we're at.
Tyler's had some moments where it's just his passes look like they've been off target. And I don't know if it's throwing motion, is something mechanical that you guys picked up on, or it's just, he's just off. What would you say is kind of happening?
I wouldn't say it's mechanical. We got to do a really good job of cleaning things up for him, and we've got to do a really good job with the supporting cast. When you're a quarterback's the hardest position, right? So we've got to make it it's never comfortable, but we've got to make it as clean and as clear for him to operate at a high level, especially when you're in a new system. Okay. So I wouldn't say anything on him mechanically. He is busting his butt. He's working hard. We call it like it is. I always tell the truth about a guy. I never throw a guy under the bus. I won't do that. I don't think that's right. But I certainly don't try to also cover up for a guy if they're doing the wrong things and stuff like that. It's a rough game, and has had a really good week since then. And he's got as much or more pride than anyone I've ever been around, and we have all the